and done in a positive vibe. Thank you. Oh, I have to get used to my voice, and it's now being arranged. Okay. Do I have to stand by the barrel? I want to walk around, so you've read the wording, how you write it. You can still see if I stand here, welcome home, so fuck it. I liked Sanderson's introduction because my whole life is plagued by people wanting more Floris and people wanting less Floris, or situations where you want him and situations where you don't want him. But by being very clearly me, the people that want me attract me and give me a space and a stage. Thank you, Summercamp. Happy Summercamp. I'm so happy. And the trust, because you didn't know me at all, just on the words of one guy, I am here doing a workshop and a talk. Woo! So thank you for the trust, and trust will also be in the story as something quite essential. So, I'm going to talk about Knowmads, which is a school I co-founded. I'm not really the founder, somebody else. I just co-founded, helped a little bit with the ideas, walked in and out, and shook things up. About me, this is me. I was also at Chaos Pilots, which is a similar school in Denmark. I was the first non-Scandinavian to work there. We'll come back to that, but basically I got fired after 3 months. They said, we have no rules, it's all equal here, but I broke all the leadership rules that were hidden. And then I went back to the Netherlands and set up Chaos Pilots Netherlands. So it was not bad things. And my own business is full service. We'll also come to that. Whoops, there we go. Yes, this is a word I invented, and it's mysteriography. So we have all magic moments in our lives, and we don't talk enough about them, especially now. You need to, when you do a talk, business talk, you have to prove with graphs and scientific research what you're saying is true and well-founded, especially if you don't have a 20 million on your bank account, because 20 million also counts for valid talks and status. I don't have 20 million. I have never been even close to 100,000, so just that you know it. But I've had some amazing, crazy experiences, and one is at 10. So at 10, I'm in front of the blackboard. The teacher calls me up. I choke up totally. It may seem strange to some people, but I was totally, deadly shy. And if you would look at me, I'd go totally red. And there I am in front of the class board, and the teacher is looking at me. And the class is looking at me. And I go, and he asks something like, where's, Groningen or a city? And I don't know. And I also wonder, does he want me to point at it, or does he want me to tell where it is? And does he mean the province of that name or the city of that name? I don't know. So, and then at that moment I think, that's interesting. Outside on the playing ground, I'm a normal kid like all of the others. Here I'm a choked up, stupid ass. I should remember this for later. Now I thought that was a very special thought, and I remembered it all through my life. We come back to that one. Then pain. School for me was basically a lot of pain. For me, and I think all of you, especially the ones that are still hurting in cubicles or anything of that kind, get the fuck out. School is training you to be disconnected. Like when I did the rows of math, yes, 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 3, and you have to do the whole list and pages of those lists. I don't know if they still do it like this, but I'm not emotionally attached to whatever I'm doing there. It's totally, but you have to come up with results at the end, and otherwise you're not good. But basically it means you're being trained to disconnect from your own feelings, emotions, purpose, and destiny and sensations, and just do the assignment as a good little boy. That's education. Most of education is set up to measure progress of learning, but it's not about learning. So to measure progress of learning, I have to design tests like multiple choice, which I can easily check, yeah, you got all the answers right. But when you play, you learn in an integral way more, way faster, way deeper, on way more levels nobody can control. And teachers, civil service don't like that. You know, what is he gonna learn? But you know, as you all know, if you lead processes, you can have an input, but what you think of this talk, I can't control. I can, of course, try to help you, guide you in a certain direction, but your opinion about what I'm saying is done by you, by your perspectives. So for me, school was like a painful thing that totally asked me to disconnect. And I was also a boy with fantasy in an industrial city. So people kept asking, Floris, what are you going to do later? Because you're not choosing math and physics and biology and all the, you know, the B things. So you're not getting anywhere later. What can you become? Then I didn't know there were a lot of creative professions and more creative professions. And of course, things changed a little bit, and of course, a lot of teachers try to create good experience. And even in very old-fashioned system schools, there are amazing golden teachers doing works of immensely love that really change lives. And in total new setup systems, there's very horrible teachers that have found a new method, and we're going to do it because if you follow the method, you'll become something. Then at 24, I was walking in the street. I was doing a drama school at that time. And with bang inside in my gut feeling was, I have existed. Which is mostly, I think, what you will feel on your deathbed. And people are crying on your bed and you think, I met it. But it was like already at 24 and I had achieved nothing. So there was this frying of my own brain. I like to fry other people's brains, but sometimes it happens to me, that I have existed. So I must have done things I am not aware of, influenced others in certain ways that were positive, but also gave me a feeling of, if I've already existed, I'm liberated from the pressure of to achieve things, and the rest of my life is a gift, like extra time, and now I'm in extra time. And at the same time, the extra time gives me time to be free, spare things, take big risks. Also, I don't currently have wife and children, so more chance to risks. And then also in the Mysteriography is also one of those crazy moments in life, in my life at least. I walk into a bookstore, I see a book, and I know when I buy this book, my whole life is going to change, and I don't know how. That's also scary. So I bought the book, and my whole life changed, and because I just owned the book. So it's not only the content, and then you go, wow, revelation, because I lent the book to somebody else. And then I lent him another book, because he thought, oh, that's a great book, do you have another one? I lent him the other book. He called the writer of that book. She came to visit me in the Netherlands. She introduced me into a new network, and suddenly I was in a castle in Slovenia, a bit like the Happy Summer Camp, but then with young youth leaders of Europe. And into whole new networks of open space technology and emergence, collective consciousness, etc. Amazing. I never knew it existed because I was between 30 and 40. I was just having 11 creative jobs. That's also, I did a lot of creative work. So I always never built a company like any of you. I only did things, oh, I can do this now, I can be a photographer, oh, I can make a movie, okay, let's make a movie, okay, I can, and then I did it, and then I went on to do something else because I'm easily bored. Possibility rush, in other words, that's the possibility rush means that you have an idea, and then you're with somebody else, and then we can do this, yeah, and then we can do this, oh, and then if we did add to it, wow, yes, that is the possibility rush, you know, when things, you get into the flow. In 2004, I organized with other people a conference for shifting paradigms. So if physics have new ideas about what the reality is, then why are we still building organizations on a Newtonian level? So we worked with managers on changing their perspective. In the first event, they were all asking, so how can we use scales and complexity theory to get our employees do what we want? They didn't get it. One time later, they were asking, okay, what does it mean for me and us? And there I introduced Ove Elbeck from Kerspites, Denmark. We flirted business-like to him, can we set up a school like yours in the Netherlands? He flirted back, so that's a good idea. And in 2005, we started Kerspites Netherlands. I helped set up a pre-course, which was a 3-month course. Then 2 other guys got all the money, and then they had a little bit money, and they thought, Floris, you perhaps should not be in this, because we have to bring in a real Kerspites from Denmark to run this. And I was out of the system, really knife in the back. That was very, very painful. These things also happen. You work on trust. Also, for 20 years, I haven't signed any contracts except 2 were one was really meaningless. So I work on trust, basically. But sometimes it means a knife in the back, and then you have a choice. But I still loved the story of the school so much that I kept on supporting the school and sometimes gave guest lectures, you know, playing friends. Then they had to stop the school because Kerspites Denmark wanted to franchise, and they said, but you never helped us really with setting them in the Netherlands, so we don't want to pay money. Yeah, but you have to pay money. And a kind of ugly fight, and they stopped Kerspites Netherlands. It was too hard work to make it run. There were also some things in the system of the school that didn't work. So it stopped, and one guy who had come in later and did some team coaching said, I'm going to start another school called Knowmads. And I said, oh, that's so cool. I have some ideas what you could do differently given what I was at last time. So we had coffee, and we had another coffee. And he said, oh, can you also come to a meeting? We talk about what we do. So I come to the meeting, we're sitting in a group of 9 people and said, we're the staff of the new school. So I was hired without even knowing what I was hired to, without any expectations, etc. So that's a huge trust, and it's beautiful. And from this, we build on the school. So Knowmads, it opened up in 2010. We had a logo, we had a website, and we didn't have a curriculum, and we didn't have a school or a building. And we had 12 people starting. And that was beautiful. And for me, the core of any group or team or school or business is, and it's what every relationship therapist will ask you immediately when you come in, and so I have trouble with my wife, is ask, are you willing to make it work? This is the basic foundation of our school. Are we willing to make it work together? Staff, students. So this is from a long slideshow I'm not going to do, but why is there Knowmads? We see a future and it's really scary. There's bad things happening. Many people are really worried and start taking actions. I like rude. That's taking action in a beautiful way. And it's also exciting. There's a lot of new opportunities. You can invent new job titles every day. I do it every day. Today I have 7 new job titles. Also in the school we need tools to work with it. So these were some basic questions. And this is also it. We wanted to create a welcome home for people who were looking for something new, different kind of education. So very shortly, say something. It's all on the internet. It's a 1-year program, international student, team setting, etc. What's your true potential? 4 questions. So the 4 questions to the students are for a whole year. And who are you and what world do you want to live? There's the same question many people have here. What do I want to contribute and change? Same question as many people have here. So some people choose this road, some people start from themselves and choose camps, and others go to a school. How do I create the organization to get it done, and how do I bring it in the world? These are the 4 basic questions where the school leads to. And it means that a student can come in with any question and any purpose or any hope and become anything. One is now driving innovation in Volkswagen, another singer-songwriter touring Germany, Another is doing ecological catering in Denmark. Somebody is reading auras in Brazil. So the diversity is huge. Then trouble in paradise. So I'll also ask Charlie in a moment to say something. This last half year, one of our students committed suicide, which is, if you are a small organization, is really, really painful. Another, we had to fire someone because a lot of money went missing. It was more out of overspending. So suddenly we're in depth. We have a lot of sadness and pain in the organization, and it's a small school. So it's basically 30 people, around 30 people. So this is really a problem. And the discussion is also, what is it truly about, this school? And also in all of your organization, in the summer camp, I've noticed similar discussions about, so how do you make things happen? And where do you do it from? Are you a knight going in for a fight and work hard to conquer things? Or are you working with the pain in the world and daring to be vulnerable? And here I want to ask Charlie to tell something of something that started 25 years ago and still influences Knowmads today.
Hi. So the Chaos Pilots that Floris mentioned, I first went to 10 years ago, not as a student, but as a journalist and then as a teacher, and it's where we met. And it has this beautiful, compelling, feeling, has a feeling like here, where you walk in and you're like, oh my God, I'm at home, I've found my people, I can do my thing, I'm not an alien. And then there's this Uffe Elbeck, who's plays the invulnerable founder hero perfectly. And this is the story that you kind of get sold. It's like you walk in, you get the feeling like, oh, it's okay to be here. But the challenge is like, can you be this invulnerable founder hero guy? And I've been in and out of the school, helping teaching for 10 years and trying to find the answer. You know, how can you do it? You know, because it always feels to me so terrifying to kind of stand up and to try and do something, try and start something. And yet here's this guy, you know, the invulnerable founder hero. And it's been a difficult journey trying to work with the school, and there's been a lot of difficulties in the Knowmads. They've tried to work with that school and they've tried to make their version of the school work as well. And the way that I try to understand organizations and the trouble that they might be in is to go back and is to look at where they came from. Not just like, how is it now? But everything that's here came from somewhere. And where did it come from? Trace back to the founder, and then the founder is a person who has a need, and everything that follows is an attempt to meet that need. And I was talking to a friend of mine, Peter Koenig. He has this source theory, which is this idea that the way to unravel an organization is to trace back to the beginning. And he said to me, you know, the thing I think with the Chaos Pilots is that there's someone missing. There's someone we haven't found. And I remembered seeing a talk like this by Uffe about the Chaos Pilots when he said at the beginning, he had this moment of inspiration about the school, and he said, and I decided at that moment that I was going to step in. And so I called Thomas, and I said, Thomas, I'm in. And I thought, who's Thomas? And so 25 years ago, there's a guy called Thomas who Uffe rang and said, I'm going to help. And then Thomas disappeared. And so I got someone to track him down. I found him on the internet, found him on Facebook. A friend of mine rang him and said, you know, I think you started this thing. And he basically said, well, yeah. And I went and met him in Denmark, and this is, so 25 years, his part in starting this thing, unacknowledged. And he works as a cleaner and a trash blues guitarist in his spare time, and is writing a thesis at Aarhus University on trying to establish an objective reference point outside of observable reality. So what we have here is the classic lost genius, the vulnerable genius with an idea who needed a lot of help to bring it into the world. But because we love the image, or we're just convinced by, seduced by the image of the invulnerable founder of these two guys, the one who I can turn up to 25 years later and he can spend 3 hours articulating not only the vision for the school as a whole, which was to take care of the lost geniuses and give them a home, but also he could articulate every point at which he'd done something wrong at the beginning and why those were still playing out in the school today. And he took responsibility for every fuck up. And he's like, well, because I'm like this, because I'm not enough like this, because I'm not enough like that. Crystal clarity. And over 10 years of me trying to make sense of the school, trying to work out how to fit with it, how to work with it, and Floris doing the same, the purpose would always move. You know, it's like, oh, it's a future school for business, or it's this, or it's for entrepreneurs, or social entrepreneurs, or creative entrepreneurs, or the best school for the world. And you can have a lot of convincing ideas, a lot of seductive ideas, a lot of compelling ideas. But when you can hear that the person who actually had the need at the beginning is telling you what their need is, and you have this lost genius saying, lost genius is being taken care of and given a home is what this is about, you feel it. And so this is this other character. You know, we have the idea of the invulnerable agent who piles into the world and is the face, is the voice. But so often in pairs, in co-founders, you have the other one, the one who you don't hear about, but who's the vulnerable authority. Where if you go to them, you listen to them, they know exactly what has to happen next. But they're not going to stand up and tell you.
So somehow I tuned into the lost geniuses, and I think I am a lost genius. And I also worked from that level, and I had to fight all the time in the system to have my place, because the testosterone-driven, I'm a businessman, I'm going to do a big project, was something I felt I needed to fight to, or they thought we needed to fight. Whereas also, if they totally acknowledge each other and embrace each other, it can be gold. And at the same time also, I see that many children everywhere in the world are being taught to be invulnerable or don't feel enough, etc. But for me, I'm coming to a new idea of leadership, which is, if a child is vulnerable and says, I hate it to see all those trees chopped, and why is that whale dying? Then we go, many parents will go, that's how the world is, etc. But I think true leadership is making sure that they don't cry anymore, or that we have a world in which they feel they don't need to worry about that. So leadership is not having a vision sometimes yourself, but listening to this vulnerable voice and giving it space, or helping it to shine in the world, because it has a bigger truth than the strong voice, which could be the knight working for the king, but it's not the king itself. And if you confuse the two, you have big trouble in paradise. Few last things. So it's really about taking care. This is a wolf taking care of the other wolf by warming its nose. It's very, very sweet. And we all are wolves. We are, I mean, many of you are also angels, but also many of us are wolves. And wolves can be creatures of prey and eat other animals and be totally cruel, but they also are very caring animals. And it's also about the place in the world. There's a beautiful film, I think you should watch it, also about system. It's a Mongolian, it's placed in China. It's about a guy who sent out to the wolf totem, I think. It's a guy who sent out to the Mongolian wolf land. I see somebody who saw it. Do you know the title?
I've read the book.
Oh, you read the book. It's amazing how the wolves then take revenge on the people that start to hunt the wolves, the animals that the wolves eat. And how systems of human structure kill pure knowledge and sensitivity. And it's stepping into the unknown. So for me also, I'm still in the school. I'm a little bit worried and confused. So this is not going to have a happy ending or a thing. But I'm still confused. What are we going to do? How can we take the next steps? The school's now currently running a crowdfunding campaign run by the students. And at the same time, I talked about measuring. How do I measure my success within the school? At some point I was very sick. Students came to my home, cooked for me. One called me from Germany, he said, Floris, I know you are in trouble now, and I have savings. You know, I can still feel it. And then he says, and if it's gone, my parents have savings. Because you need to keep on doing what you're doing. So for me, you know, this is my guidance. This is how I find my path, by listening to these voices. Because often I also don't know. I'm inventing, I'm playing. Yesterday I played very much. It was also lighthearted. For some people it was shocking. But I think to allow ourselves to be touched by that, what senses, what is wrong in the world, and moving on that is so important for the whole. Because we all know big shit is happening. And even if not big shit is happening, it's all a fairy tale of some scientists who are in with Greenpeace, still it's the right way to do it. And hence, after this I will go to Vienna and speak and work at an alternative educational learning style conference. So I'm still in it, I love it. You can help. Don't ask to come and teach. That's the crazy thing about Knowmads. You have a school with no money at all, and everybody flocks for the job. And can I do a cool work because I have the school method? Help in other ways, please. This was the last one. The rest is a long slideshow about how it works. And if you have questions, you can always come to me, call me, or look up the website. So, ladies and gentlemen, here it ends with sensitivity, pain, and beauty. And go into the world and do something that makes a difference.